In 3, 2, 1. And we should be live now. All right.
We are live.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Ace here, and I'm, of course, once again joined by Asmogan and Xerius. We are once again heading back to Will of Iron. So,
Yeah.
Woohoo!
so would one of you guys like to give a bit of a recap on what happened so far?
Okay. I think the brief recap. Recap. I guess we're gonna find out if that's fitting or not. The recap of the story so far is we're getting two storylines. Well, technically three. We're getting three storylines. We're following simultaneously over the course of the story. In two of them, we're following a Space Marine chapter known as the Dark Angels, and we're following two perspectives from them. We have one from a standard Space Marine detachment that's on the planet side. We're also following a chaplain who apparently is handling diplomatic relations with. Is it another planet or is it the same planet but a different area of the planet? That's the thing that confused me.
Same planet, different area.
Okay, so it's the same planet, different area. So we got a chaplain who's handling that, and the other storyline we're following that is completely disconnected. Well, they're all connected, but disconnected in terms of natural relations would be the Inquisitor who's trying to find a way to take down the Dark Angels. So those are the three storylines we're following right now, and they are happening simultaneously. They are happening connected to one another, but they are separate. So that's going on. The last issue we finished up with some magical MacGuffin of power that is just a glowing light bulb that floats. That's where we left off in the last issue.
We were also mildly following some Iron Warriors.
Yes.
So I guess that means 4 plots going on simultaneously.
Wait, were we following them directly? Or I'm pretty sure they were a part of one of those three storylines. Like, we're not actually following them.
We were following them directly-ish. It was very light.
I don't think we're actually following a storyline, though. I think we're just... It's kind of like a cutaway to, like, the villain scheming. Okay. It's not like we're actually being shown the course of events. We're just being, like, cut over to, like, the maniacal, ooh, I'm planning my evil schemes. Kind of like with, like, Dr. Claw or... I don't know, Hook.
I'll get you next time, Gadget.
Exactly. It's like it's just a cutaway to that. It's not like an actual unfolding of events or anything.
All right, so let's go ahead and get the show started, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Get to when the comic actually starts.
Which would be page 6.
Yep. And so turns the great wheel of the ages. And what was once old becomes new. Past becomes present. Present becomes past. And men once again become the instruments of gods.
Oh, that is actually a beautiful piece right there.
Agreed.
Especially that Chaos Lord. He's looking pretty badass. He rips something to shred.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I do like the detail. It's pretty well done. The lighting is nice.
Yeah. It's definitely...
It's especially noticeable considering we just finished Calgar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the third issue, that is. There's still 2 more to come, unfortunately.
So the pain is still not over yet.
It doesn't end. It just continues.
Alright.
Well, at least it won't be bothering us soon.
Don't they take like 2 or 3 weeks to get an issue out?
At least I think closer to 4,
idea.
so it's almost a month that it'll be in January when we see the next one, I think.
And not being familiar with the production process of comics, that does lead me to the question: are they are they creating the comic in the interim, or like what's taking weeks to do?
I don't really know, to be honest.
Like I'm kind of if they're literally creating the comic issue to issue, week to week, I can kind of see why that would explain some of the fucking issues we've seen in terms of like artwork and consistency.
I do think that is true to an extent. From what I understand, it does take a while to make comics. Yes, it depends on the length, but from what I'm seeing, my guess is that they've probably made. By the time we saw Marnius Calgar issue 1, they had probably already gotten issue 2 pretty much finished, and maybe had just begun work on issue 3.
I don't know.
And
Your
so
guess is as good as mine.
that's my guess, because I've noticed that that issue 3 did at least fix the criticism that there wasn't any action in the first 2 issues.
Meh.
Kind of.
It's still not a huge improvement, because it's still the same people doing a Marnius Calgar comic. But
I mean, yeah.
yeah, I do think that...
And there's more action going on in this one page here at page 7 of Will of Iron than there was in like most of the events that happened in Marnius Calgar issue 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
They'd very. It's really like the action. And I know we should be focusing on this issue, but I can't help but make the comparison. Marnius Calgar really, even the action we did see, it seemed like the artist and the writer wanted to just zip through it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is what I find annoying. Let's move on.
What's that? War in my Warhammer? No.
Yeah, here it looks like the artist took time to really like depict the battle that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's lots of detail. We're getting an overview shot, like overhead, of this massive battle with explosions, and all the battle lines look like little dots and ants. Then we see the close-ups of individual combat. Again, like this is way more than what we got in most of Marnius Calgar Part 3.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so let's go to the next.
Portions are only mildly screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got a Terminator with arms coming out of his ears, of course.
Terminator, technically speaking, if we're talking about like the actual body, do they have ears?
No, but I mean anatomy-wise. For some reason, people like to the models, and in comics, they love to depict Terminators as having their arms coming out of their freaking heads.
And to be fair, their head is their whole torso.
Yeah, but I mean the head line, where the head sits.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, that's where the arms come out of. The only place I've seen Terminators done right is Space Hulk Deathwing and the other Space Hulk video games, because they actually take time to properly proportion the bloody things. Get the anatomy right.
All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next page here.
Page 8.
Who was doing the...
I was doing the chaplain.
Okay.
Alright. Goliath, release the second wave.
Forget who Goliath is.
I think they're introducing Goliath.
Confirmed.
I actually had a sound effect downloaded on the other computer. It sounded like drop pods dropping. It would have been so convenient for this right now.
Yep.
Actually, I got a buddy of mine who actually, like, for fun, makes sound effects with scrap metal. He sent me some pretty convincing sounding ones, too.
One thing I'm not really liking this comic in terms of art style and quality, Imperial Knights are always very derpy. It's bothering me quite a lot.
Well, yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. But to be fair, at least if you talk about page 9, it is a zoomed out shot, and typically that's when artists get a little lazier. But the excuse kind of falls apart when you realize that they're kind of still predominant in the picture. So they should have been given more detail, but it looks like just as they treat small like look at the chaplain, look, his face is completely blacked out. He's given very minor detail, but that's because it's zoomed out. Hell, if you look at his scepter there, it looks like a little blob.
Procius.
It looks
It-
like
it
a
looks pretty bad.
popsicle.
Yeah, you cannot tell what it is. So with that makes sense when you're doing a zoomed out shot, like
Yeah.
just speaking from an artistic standpoint. However, that doesn't really work when we're talking about the Imperial Knights, because we're zoomed out significantly, but they're still predominant and major in the photo. So there should be a lot more detail, but they treat it just like they did the Chaplain, where they lowered the detail just because they zoomed out a little. But with how predominant they are, you still could have put a lot more detail. Like some of the dimensions also look a little off. If you look at like the crotch plate, like how it's rotated compared to the leg, it looks kind of off to me.
And that the Imperial Knight Crusader right next to the Errant in front, that Ranger Gatling cannon has 5 barrel holes instead of 6, which is highly disturbing.
Oh yeah, there is only 5.
Yeah, good call on that one.
What the hell?
I noticed the fine details. You can also tell which loadout of knight each of these have. Interestingly enough.
Wait a sec, guys. Is it just me, or are the barrels not even aligned to the muzzle on that?
No, they're not. The barrel, because if you pay attention to the line, the barrel leads to the blank spot where in between 2 of those barrel holes. So they weren't able to keep consistency, I suppose.
There are 3 that kind of line up, but the other ones don't line up at all.
So
Also, I just noticed that the knight in the front, that heavy stubber is massive. Holy crap. That's supposed to be a fairly large machine gun. Oh, sort of heavy machine gun. But that right there, that is a battle tank. Holy crap, that's a bit of a screw up.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, they basically pulled a Calgar revolver.
It's like, oh, let's make this oversized.
Oh, I'm noticing as well the Knight Crusader in the far background. Whereas twin autocannon only has 1 autocannon. Right. Oh, jeez.
So who was
we're gonna be here all day.
So who was voicing Sergeant Estriel?
I believe that might have been you.
Okay. Interrogator Chaplain.
Sergeant Estriel.
I'd hoped for a greater show of support from our allies. The enemy are numerous. These knights are ancient and few.
The enemy are arrogant and march blindly into our trap. The barons of Tintaroth stand with us against this foul incursion. A further contingent of knights has been dispatched to swell our ranks. Together we shall break these traitors, body and will.
I'm sorry, these are a few...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, these aren't a few. These are not a few. What? The most I can think is he means a few in comparison to the enemy?
Oh my god.
But 5 Imperial Knights. I don't care what planet, what siege we're talking. That's not a few.
Oh, that
Like, what? He's talking about it like they're
I
Lehman
heard
Russ
that
tanks.
line. I heard that
That's
line
only
and
a
I
few.
instantly started laughing.
There's only a few of them. There's 5 of them. What?
And at least and 2 of them are crusaders. Those things are infantry slaughterers. That is not a few.
Like, he's talking about them like they're Lehman Russ tanks. Like there's like a dime a dozen of them.
It's like
what? Did the writers not know that these are ancient war machines that are rarely dispatched? Like, they might send 1, maybe 2, to a pretty particularly rough fight for the Imperium. 5?
It's like we're...
5 is unbeatable, almost.
As well, this is from what from what I've gathered, this is also a night homeworld, or at least in the same system as a night homeworld. So
So there should be a
there's
house
going
of
to
them.
be a lot of knights here.
Mm-hmm.
This
A
is
whole household worth of knights.
Yeah, for Ace, for
So
context,
saying
I
that
know
there's a
you don't
few-
know. Just so you know, Ace, Imperial Knights and Space Marines are separate. Like they're not seen as like part of that. They're not like bigger dreadnoughts. To give you a bit of an explanation, Imperial Knights are their own army, technically speaking.
yeah.
In air quotes. But they are very rare to see in combat for the Imperium because usually they're dispatched. If we're not talking about a night homeworld, very few of them are dispatched to foreign combat because they're very rare and they don't build new ones. At least
Well,
as far as I
yeah,
can
they're
recall.
in fact they're so rare. I know, for example, that the Winter Assault expansion for Dawn of War 1 was focused around seizing a Titan.
Yeah, Titan, the Adeptus Titanicus. Yeah, Titanicus are even rarer.
Yeah,
Like Imperial Knights are smaller than them, and they're a little bit more common, but
not
they
by
are
much.
not by much. They're still very rare to see in combat, and they also operate in like a household kind of thing, like a family house. If that makes sense, like
Yep.
kind of like kind of like a knight order, but referred to as like a family house. That's how their faction are kind of organized.
It's basically a knight, old knight thing mixed with a royal family
Yeah,
and giant ass war machines.
yeah, they're very rarely dispatched in combat. So to see 5 of them, I'm kind of left speechless that they would refer to them as a few.
Especially
one-
with 2 crusaders on the field.
Yeah, 1 would be like to turn the tide in our favor. 2, we're gonna win and we're gonna smoke a cigar afterwards. 3, everybody sit back, relax, and watch the show. 5, dude, this shouldn't even be a competition here. There's 5 of them.
There's more of them on the way, so
It's
yeah.
like the writer confused Warhammer 40k for BattleTech, or more specifically, House Steiner.
Probably, because I cannot imagine making this mistake, especially since they're depicting them here as these, as they're supposed to be gigantic death machines.
Brother Kakil says, Asmogan seems to heavily overestimate how rare and powerful knights are.
No, not really.
Trooper Geo says, it's the Dark Angels, not a huge improvement over the Ultramarines, but an improvement nonetheless.
I'll take it.
Alright, so next page.
I'm sorry, but Dark Angels were the first chapter that I got into, so I find that mild offense
Robert Chalk says
in a
Steiner.
joking manner.
Robert Chalk says Steiner Scouting Lance. Yes, indeed. Remember, stealth is sometimes an option.
An option, not necessarily required.
Indeed.
Like, I know Bane Blades are supposed to be rare too. For example, they only had, one of them at the Siege of Vrax. So, yeah, I can figure...
There were a few and blades and smaller, heavy.
I'm not sure how
tanks.
rare.
Similar
I know Bane Blades are rarer, but I don't know the exact the term, like how common you would see them in battle.
Well, just to clarify, no, you cannot have 100 Bane Blades in one
hell
place
no.
at one
No.
given time, as Dawn of War 1 would have you think.
Fuck no.
We don't talk about that particular expansion. We do not talk about
you get a Bane
Soulstorm.
Blade. You get a Bane Blade. Everybody gets a Bane Blade.
It is the Bane Blade! Oh, dear God. Oh, that was a derp. But yeah,
Wait, what the hell? What? Personally, I would estimate the Knights are more common than Space Marines.
No.
What?
Excuse.
What are you talking about?
Are you
What?
sure we're talking about the same thing here, buddy?
Calcio, have you gotten a full night's sleep, bro? Are you okay?
Is the girlfriend
What?
perhaps being a bit too distractive?
Don't pull the girlfriend card. That's usually not a good idea. Uh, what? More carbon than spit? What are you talking about?
That would mean that there's.
I'm left in utter confusion where the hell you pulled that from. Well, I'm gonna move on, assuming you misspoke or mistyped.
That would mean that there'd be at least 1 million of the things roaming around the Imperium.
Well,
A million.
A million might be a stretch.
That's
But
pushing it.
to outdo Space Marines, there would need to be, what, 100,000? A little bit more than that?
I think there's... How many companies
Wow.
of Space Marines are... Or how many, chapters of Space Marines are there?
I don't know the exact number
we
of
have no
chapters.
idea.
There's, I don't think there is a conclusive number since...
No, there isn't.
The GW explanation would be like they like to allow players to have like their own room to make home brews.
Yeah, I know
So,
Emperor Text-to-Speech said it was something around 1,000. So if it was 1,000 chapters, that would put it at 1 million total.
I think so.
Just
1,000.
under.
That's estimating that if all of them were Codex compliant.
And some of
Yeah.
them are not. And instead
Quite a
have
few
more.
of them are not, because if we're talking Black Templars alone, like Black Templars could have anywhere between like 800, 1,000 Space Marines per fleet to twice, 3 times, 4 times that number. Because they're the one chapter that are known for not giving a damn about the Codex. Some chapters pretend to follow it somewhat. I don't think the Black Templars only pretend in like the eyes of the Inquisition and the Ecclesiarchy, but they don't. That's because they just don't want to have to deal with the hassle. But they're pretty blatant about not following it.
But yeah,
I was forward a little bit in the comic, and I found something that I absolutely hate, and I'm going to scroll away from it.
Let's wait till we get to that.
All right.
Let's get back on track.
Soon the Iron Warriors will know our vengeance. A weapon?
Aye. Oh, that was a bit higher pitched than I would have liked. Aye. Weapon of the kind that brought the storms to Calavrax. An ancient, heathen thing that could ignite this entire hive and condemn millions to the royal. That is not rolling. That is roiling. Wow, I cannot speak. To the roiling hell that. Wow. Okay, take 5. To the roiling hell of the war. It is modeled after the great battle barge engines that rend passage through the to Immaterium, and if triggered, may tear a hole in the very weave of the universe.
You knew of this?
I wonder if I should activate the cave sound effect, cave voice changer.
Don't play
No,
the voice
yeah,
changer.
no. We have a
Okay.
super chat, by the way.
Ooh.
Strawman for $5 Australian says, "We have but a few Titans. How many do we have, sir? We have 6. But sir, we are fighting a group of 2 Rippers. Isn't that overkill? No."
It's like swatting a fly with a bazooka. Right before that, Deathbloom says, "Nah, he's right. According to the new 9th edition rulebook, of course, 9th edition coming in to ruin something. Most worlds have a night houses on them.
No, that is
What? That makes no sense.
So they retconned just how many of the
Wait,
things
I
are
have the
about.
9th edition rulebook. I'm gonna grab
Yes,
that.
go look at
I
that.
don't believe this.
Wait, is it the 9th edition rulebook or the 9th edition Imperial Knights / Mechanicus Codex? That is That is just blatantly not true.
That
at
makes
all.
no sense. That's retarded.
The heresy
It-
has intensified.
This is ridiculous. Okay, let me. Table of contents. Where's the fucking Imperial Knights mentioned?
Heresy intensifies.
Okay, I'm trying to see. Deathwatch, Grey Knights, Adeptus Sororitas, Warzone Pride, Adeptus Custodes, Asher Militum, Adeptus Mechanicus, Warzone, Armageddon, Question Imperial. Alright, so Imperial Knights don't look like they have their own dedicated. Maybe they're under. They wouldn't be under Adeptus Mechanicus, wouldn't they?
They might be.
Alright, let me skip to that and I see. Because I genuinely don't believe that they would retcon. Like, that's such bullshit.
It used to be under Mechanicus until they got their own codex.
Alright, Adeptus Mechanicus, page 94. Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Games Workshop actually did that, considering, Primaris
They've
Marine,
pulled some massive
Call,
bullshit, but
Perda.
to make Imperial Knights more common than Space Marines is bullshit, just frankly. Okay, so Quest Order Imperialis. This is the Imperial Knights. There we go. Okay.
I think they might have done that to, I don't know, make the Imperial Knight army more
appealing.
Common? I don't know. I can't justify it at all. It is injustifiable.
I'm trying to skim it to see if it mentions that they're on every world. Initially skimming it, the most it's mentioned in terms of commonality is it says, okay. Wait, hold on. It says only a handful of nobles. Okay, an army of knights may number but a handful of nobles. Okay. I'm not seeing anything as I'm skimming about their commonality. But I am skimming, so I might miss little bits.
It might be in the Engine War Psychic Awakening book. Maybe.
Maybe?
I'm skimming through a few things now.
And the only other mention of like their commonality is this line. There are numerous classes of knights employed by the Imperium, but that again, that's it. Just on my skim, so I'm not seeing anything that mentions that they're on every world.
Brother Calcul says no, they're not on every world. It would be more like one per sector or subsector.
That would make way more sense.
Yeah.
Certainly wouldn't make sense for them to be on every fucking world. That'd be retarded.
Yeah, but it's still less likely.
They're supposed to be incredibly rare. Especially since they can't mass produce them.
Yeah, they're still considered relics, so...
They are, in fact, rarer than Space Marines. There are more Space Marines.
They've always been depicted
10
as
times
rare.
over, and there are Imperial Knights. There was no way there was common Space Marines.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else listed in the 9th edition about their commonality. I'll read it through more carefully later, but just skimming it, I don't see anything like that.
Great Crusader says, nah, he is right. I play knights, and in the 8th edition codex, it says the knight suits are common, but pilots are rare.
What?
No. Just no. No, that just
It should.
no.
Yeah, because there's like one around every corner. It's common technology. Why is the Chaos and Xenos even a threat?
Oh my god. This is actually. How has this come to a point that this is worse than Calgar? Not this comic per se, but just
The concept of knights being that common. Yeah, I'd say it's fucking ridiculous. But whatever. If that is true, which I didn't, just skimming it, didn't see it in there, but I'll read it through more carefully. That's kind of bullshit.
But apparently,
It's supposed to be rare as hell machines.
if someone has evidence of knights being more common than they're supposed to be, please feel free to share it in someone's Discord or direct messages. I would love to see that.
Brother
I need to see that
Cacul,
to believe it.
Brother Cacul says, but you need to remember that there are smaller knights than the Questores.
Restoris.
Questores. They would be considerably more common.
Yeah, but they still shouldn't be more common than Space Marines.
Nathan X 2000 says Erda is still number 1 though for $2 or £2.
Nathan, stop that.
Nathan, you beautiful bastard. Never let that meme die.
Please let that meme die.
It's dumb, but it's
Okay,
GW in 2020. What can you do? I hate that though. Like, why? Why ruin your own lore? Like,
Because they still get to make money because Games Workshop.
Imperial Knights is one around every corner. Why should we even fear chaos?
That's the thing. If they actually made Imperial Knights more common, they sure didn't make the army more accessible than it is price wise.
It's like, oh, they're more common, but give us the same amount of money. No, give us more money.
I mean, considering the price. Remember the price hike from June?
Oh yeah. That was.
Trooper Geo says, guys, wait. Are we sure they aren't talking about the Armiger Warglaives?
Even those are not even those aren't more common than Christoris. Christoris Knights is the most common pattern of knights in the modern times.
Supposed to be, anyway.
Yes, the Warglaives are smaller. That does not mean they are more common. In fact, they're probably they're almost as rare as even Dominus class knights, which are slightly heavier Questoris, to be honest. Yeah, Warglaives more common than Questoris? No.
Well, whatever the case, let's continue. That was
All right.
Yeah, we've been going for a
on this
while.
for a little bit longer than we should have.
Strawman says for $2 Australian, when did Warhammer become Gundam? Even the mobile suit Gundams, the actual Gundams, are supposed to be experimental prototypes. Mobile suits themselves can be common, but the Gundams themselves are actually rare.
I can't actually tell how long we've been going.
We've been at it
okay.
for 33 minutes. Anyway,
33 minutes and we're
apparently-
4 pages in.
Nathan X 2000 says for another £2, Erda will die when the Ultras aren't poster boys.
That's, I'm assuming, true.
Yeah.
So, immortal, basically. Good to know.
Yeah.
The greatest of them all.
Let's continue.
Yes, before we sit here for the next 4 hours.
Alright, I believe the chaplain was, or the...
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Sergeant
Sorry.
was Xerius, and
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
he's
Xerius.
fine.
I know enough to do my duty. We cannot allow it to be returned to the hands of the enemy at any cost.
It seems the enemy wish to contest that sentiment.
Boom! Dreadnought. That is a nice looking dreadnought, though.
That is nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fitting entrance for one, for sure.
It's also the OG Chaos Dreadnought design, which is nice to see every now and then.
It is nice to see.
Agreed.
Right, Xerius,
And we see it, absolutely annihilate a Space Marine. Beautiful. Shield the weapon!
There are more of them behind it.
Maintain your fire! Keep it pinned! Alright, and I think if you just look at this dreadnought here with the plasma cannon, you might be able to spot my problem with it.
Wait, where's the barrel?
No, not the barrel. Look at how the plasma gun is positioned.
Well, in that particular shot, it looks like he's got it right next to his chest.
Point is, it's clipping out of the casing. That is not how plasma cannons work.
Well, no, the thing is, I'm
that is
trying to
not-
figure out if that little... Because one thing that is catching my eye about that particular shot, or that drawing, is I'm assuming that's energy that's building up for a shot? Or that's like smoke leaving it from having fired.
That's smoke leaving it from having fired.
Okay, so that's smoke. Okay, so I couldn't tell what that was supposed to be.
But what's got me a little bit on is the fact that the cannon in itself is almost completely outside of the casing. That's not how dreadnought heavy weapons work. They are pretty much stationary inside the casing, aside from the arm itself being able to move a bit. It is not. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it.
All right, so I have another comment from Brother Kakiel. So, with minimal research, it would appear that there is no established lore on how common the knights are. Only that the paladin and errant are the most common variants, though.
So, your earlier
Right.
statement...
I guess
Okay.
he's... Okay, fair enough.
As far as I recall for their commonality, last I read of their lore, they were supposed to be rarer than Space Marines.
Yes.
Mainly because they can't produce them really well. Actually, do they produce them at all, or do they just maintain old ones that have already been built?
Well,
It said rare
in
if
terms
ever,
of
I think.
in terms of some of them, they can. Well, mostly with the Mechanicus, they can sort of kind of make new ones. Specifically looking at Dominus pattern and Warglaive pattern knights. Those were, I'm pretty sure those were recently there was a recent STC file unearthed that allowed Mechanicus to build some of those. I think. I don't know.
I'd have to catch up on that stuff. I'm trying, because I'm pretty sure there's certain ones that they just maintain, if not produce. But in any case, producing them is not easy.
Well, most of the cases, it's definitely just maintaining.
Yeah, because they don't really have the resources to allocate to building massive numbers of new ones.
No, wait. I remember now. Okay, so Dominus ones, yes, those have recently been. A few of them have recently been made, but of course, fancy alloy unobtainium material, so they can't make it, even though they have the STC files.
I would not be
I hate-
surprised if they retcon it to where the armigers are more common. On the topic of knight rarity, I believe that my first statement might be flawed. However, a comment I didn't post. ... Assuming it's continued. I theorized that the nobles would be more common than Marines, but the suits themselves would be about as common as a Space Marine company. Oh, and by the way, most are maintained, not built. Okay, so I was right about that. Okay, thank you, Kakir. Thank you. I appreciate you confirming my remembrance. But yeah, like I thought, they are like I thought they most of them are maintained, because that's always been a theme with the Imperium, is that they're not really progressing that much as they're just trying to at least maintain some level of superiority, but they're not really upgrading themselves all that much. There's a lot of stagnancy with their technology, with where they are in terms of ability. Don't get me wrong, they are trying to develop themselves, but because of the constant state of resource usage and warfare, they don't really have as much resources they can allocate to improving things as opposed to just maintaining what they have.
In the old lore, that is.
In the old lore. And I usually go by the old lore because the new stuff has all been garbage lately. So
let's go ahead and go to the next page.
Yeah, we get some really beautiful action in this one. A nice slicey with this dude with the nice metal bone arm claw thingy. Just absolutely tearing through some Dark Angels. Now that is beautiful.
And he's even doing it in a twirly fashion. It's like, wee! I'm doing a twirl in the air.
With a nice happy little smile on his pretty little face.
I don't know, I kind of imagine him doing like a ballet dance of death.
All right, so
No, that's an Eldar thing, and most definitely not an Iron Warriors thing.
So who's doing the voices on these two?
I believe Xerius last time at the very least did the Chaos Warlord with his mouth like that. So, and I did the voice of
Sean Connery sounding thing.
All right.
I actually did find a really lovely voice changer for this Terminator Lord Captain thing. Sounded really good, but yeah, unfortunately, no voice changer this time.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Index! Sort these creatures like so many flies, drawn to the bounty of a rotten corpse.
You would have mercy? You would have me show mercy?
I will have to save some for the rest of us. That is beautiful. Oh, this whole page is just beautiful, actually.
Yeah, I don't remember what voice I gave the other dude. I know I gave him a higher pitched voice, but I don't know if that one I just did was correct.
I have no idea. Yeah, this
Death Bloom says, "My eyes, my dislike for the Dark Angels has also been quelled." Wait, has been quelled? Wait, doesn't quelled mean to remove or to dissipate? Or wait, am I thinking of the wrong word? Hold on. Quelled.
I think that might be quilled.
Hold on. Yeah, quell. It's to put an end to a rebellion or other disorder, typically by the use of force. Okay, so to quell is to put an end to something. So are you saying you no longer dislike Dark Angels?
I think
that kind of confused me.
Or is that a misuse of the word?
I think he meant satiate.
Ah, okay. Has been satiated.
So next page.
The gore and blood here is pretty nice.
It is nice.
We got a blood angel with his intestines just hanging out, and he's cut in half, actually. Holy crap.
Well done.
There will be plenty of opportunity to spare their blood this day. They bring reinforcements intent on outflanking us. Have you seen the machines?
Aught but decrepit antiques. And few in number. More flies. And more corpses. That is a nice one-page
That is a nice
art.
shot. I do like that.
That is beautiful. And consistent detail, even with the Marines going all the way back and such. That is very nice indeed.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's cool. Ooh, I just noticed a little detail. Some of these Iron Warriors actually have extra metal bits shoved onto their armor, like reinforcement.
That
That
does
is a
fit
very
with
nice
their
detail.
Yeah.
aesthetic, yeah. To bolster their
These-
personal defense.
These people have clearly done some kind of research into the property that they're going for.
Mhm. All
Right,
right.
next page.
Castor.
Oh god.
Oh boy. Castor, what news of the second contingent from Tinteroth?
The worst possible news. They are not coming.
What manner of treachery delays them?
They sent word of another, a fellow brother of Dark Angels who arrived on Tenteroth shortly after our departure. He claimed you were a renegade, spinning a web of deceit, that you could not be trusted. It was enough to make the other barons doubt your motives.
So they take this impostor's word over mine, and renege on our agreement to send reinforcements. What of you, Baron Castor? Do you take me for a renegade?
I see the truth of your words with my own eyes. My knights are yours to command.
So be it. We are few, but we have vengeance in our hearts. Today is a good day to die. Charge!
Again, there's the use of the word few.
Uh-huh.
To be fair, the Chaos said it as well.
Yeah, to be fair, the chaos side is fairly
Plentiful.
noticeable. Okay, so the thing I instantly notice is the proportion on the knights. Oh, it's a little yeah. And they're
Which
a bit
one?
big. They're but both well on the top of the page.
Huh?
You can see that the Space Marines don't really go up that aren't really that big compared to the knights, which is the lower leg, which is rather off. Like a knight isn't supposed to be that big, and here we go again with the knight's legs being fully straight and not digitigrade to some degree.
Well, the one thing I noticed is the leg closest to the chaplain here is only one leg. Where's the second one?
There's only one leg, or that knight just has really long.
Has he got a unileg? Is he peg leg? Hopping into battle? Just each hop sends a whole planet shaking. Shit! It's coming!
And also, I'm looking at the armor pieces on the leg. The thigh and half armor goes over the knee armor. No.
Well, by that standard, that the one further back should piss you off then, because the shoulder,
Yeah.
the knee joint looks really fucking tiny. At least the plating right there.
It's just not there.
It's like a little dot.
It's just not very nice. And also in the one at the back, the Avenger Gatling cannon, at least from that's what I can see from the shape, is from what it's showing us is sitting pretty much on the hip, which is not how knight weapons are positioned at all.
Oh, by the way,
Because
Xerius,
light
remind me. I don't know if this has been confirmed or if this is. Do the Iron Warriors serve Chaos in general, or do they serve a specific god?
Chaos in general.
Okay, so they are Chaos in general. I was trying to remember if they had a specific one they were allocated to.
Only ones that are specifically allocated are Emperor's Children and World Eaters and
Yeah.
Death Guard. And of course Thousand Suns. Those are the only ones that are specifically dedicated to a specific god.
And
Everyone
fittingly enough,
else
each of them are specifically allocated to one of the gods.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I know, but what I meant was like each one
Kind
is like representative of one of the gods each.
Yeah. I'm also noticing that these toes are a bit stubby. Nice. Real nice.
All right, so let's go to the
Oh.
next page, I guess.
Although the knight in the bottom of the page, that does actually look very nice. It's properly detailed, properly, well, not fully properly proportioned, but well, in terms of how big it is, but it still looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
The heavy stubber is still slight bit big, but better than the full-on battle cannon of one of the previous ones. Yeah, moving on.
All right.
Probably gonna have to put a pause button on any criticism of the inconsistencies with the knights. Because if we keep going, we're probably gonna notice more issues as we keep going.
Well, in this next page, it's the one in the front is actually perfect. Digigrade leg, well detailed leg. The knee pads aren't being swallowed by the other armor plates. Everything is perfect with this knight. Even the heavy stubber is perfect.
Which page are you on?
15.
I'm on page 16.
Ah, you jumped ahead.
Oh,
there's no
I've
dialogue
been
on this
going
one, so.
to the. I did go to the. I thought you were on. I thought we were all on page 15.
No, we were talking about the legs in 14.
Uh,
I know, that's how slow we're going. All right, let's just, like I said, let's just, from now on, let's just look past the issues of the knights, because there's probably going to be more of them.
Ooh, I found a really huge flamer. Oh, that's nice. A regular
so-
flamer the size of a heavy flamer.
okay, we're on page 16,
Oh,
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Which one is that? I still don't have numbers on these bloody things.
The one where they're on foot again. Without the knights.
The one
Yeah,
after the shot with the two Imperial Knights, the one major one in frame that you were complimenting, and then like the 4 shots at the bottom of different points. Just skip past that. So we're on 16, which is the next page. And you are the line of hold your ground.
Hold your ground! They cannot be allowed to reach the orb.
Secure the weapon.
Ugh. All right, so I guess we'll go to
Boltus
the.
got clipped.
Yeah, I guess we'll go to the next page.
Okay. It's actually a rare sight to see a space marine get hit in the pauldron and the pauldron getting, well, shattered like that. That's a rare sight indeed.
Yeah, usually bolter rounds pierce right through it.
Or don't do anything.
One of the two.
Bolter
That's
rounds
typically
seem
what I've
to be
seen.
really bipolar when it comes to power armor.
Or at least how they're depicted with dealing with power armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do that. Well, I mean, even in the Horus Heresy books, some of the bolter shots seem to ping harmlessly off of regular power armor, which is totally not infuriating at all.
You could make the argument that the consistency issues is because the tech isn't very well refined, but even then, that's kind of a loose argument.
Yeah, very loose argument. All right, moving on.
Right,
Valiath.
Valiath. Yeah, that's you.
You read me, Valiath. Valiath.
We are too far below ground.
And we're on our own.
No, Sergeant. We are far from that.
It's the goat head
Hey,
motherfucker.
the goat head dude. Also had a nice voice changer voice for him. Very sad.
Tab says discount pauldrons.
Yep.
I got him in the discount bin. $5.
Yeah, nice. Oh, that is a very, very large being.
Wait, was he depicted as that large in the previous issue when we were introduced to him?
I don't think so.
He
I think
looks
I
bigger
think,
in this.
Yeah, he does.
I think in the previous ones he was depicted as slightly bigger than a regular Astartes, but here he
He looks bigger than a dreadnought.
Yeah, he's freaking massive. Like his head is almost as big as one of the Space Marines' torsos.
Demon be eating his Wheaties.
Yeah,
He's been pumping that iron.
All right, so who is doing the voice of the demon and all that?
I'll do it.
doesn't really have a voice, but hey.
It's more of a roar.
Barg.
Rarg.
Meow.
Vadus! This is a resilient monster, brother.
In the name of the Emperor.
Right in the throat.
Well, that is how you execute something proper.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Boltus who says it incoming?
Incoming. Yep.
Can't tell.
that's
The
it.
helmet's drawn really strangely.
Yeah, so
You can tell because he has the fractured shoulder pad.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, there it is.
incoming.
And it has Corvus helmets have the little light thingy on the side of their helmets. So that's also a clear giveaway if you're looking for that kind of detail anyway.
Not really.
Naturally.
Nathan X.
Detonate the weapon! Now!
What of the civilians?
Collateral!
In the name of the Emperor.
Oh, there goes the sergeant.
Yeah. All right, so I've got a comment here. Nathan X for 2,000 pounds or Nathan X 2,000, sorry, for £2 says that demon been eating the Flintstone vitamins.
Oh,
I was about to say, if he gave you 2,000 pounds, I'm feeling jealous.
If he gave me 2,000 pounds,
It's like 2,000 pounds. All right, I'm retiring. YouTube was a success.
yeah, at that point. But anyways, thank you for the £2 there, Nathan X. All right, so next
that's
page.
a very nice shot. Ooh. Hell yeah.
That's pretty nice.
That is chaosy. That is immaterium. That is demons.
I think they're cool. Like the thing that immediately caught my eye is the tentacle that seeps out of the black right there. Because for a second I thought the black kind of on my initial when I first turned to the page, I thought that was weird because but I like how that tentacle right there is kind of sifting out of it, making it feel more like that's part of the void. That little detail helps make it fit better.
I guess it also means that tentacle anime is considered heresy. I can't agree
It's,
more.
it's always been heresy with Slanesh. Slanesh is hentai given manifest.
Well, the modern depiction, anyway.
Yeah, the modern. Well, the modern depiction of Korn is also that he's just a bloodthirsty maniac.
Yeah.
No sense of honor or warrior spirit. They kind of done the chaos gods kind of dirty, but
except for Zinch, interestingly enough, Zinch seems to be the only one that has somewhat survived.
well, to be fair, how much can you fuck up? Well, a being that is ununderstandable.
True enough. I think the thing I first noticed about this chaos being unleashed is the amount of teeth. Damn, that's a lot of teeth.
The devouring essence of the warp.
All right.
That is a nice depiction of the devouring essence that is the warp.
So
And of course, in the next page, there's a lot more teeth.
all right. So James Knighton says, to me, where are the Grey Knights when you need them? That's a good question. Brother Kakiel says, remember kids, close to 2 million... okay, so this is about the whole China thing. Okay.
Yeah.
We do not speak of that.
Yep. Anyway, so... and so the wheel turns. Another revolution. Next page. And the Dark
Wait, what?
We're on page
okay.
21 now.
Yeah. So I was a bit behind there.
And the Dark Gods gorge themselves on 1,000,000 unworthy souls.
Wow, okay, so all of that just got wiped out. All the stuff that we have been going through and experiencing through the past few issues has now just been erased.
I was about to say, is that everybody?
Yep, that's the Chaos Lord.
Chaos
It's
Lord,
the Imperial
there's
Knights.
the Imperial Knights with the chaplain. What the fuck? Talk about an end button. Control Alt Delete. Alt F4.
This is the Warhammer equivalent of the Thanos snap.
The fuck was that orb?
Yes.
James Knighton says to me, does that make the brother Dark Angel count as a heretic for being in the warp? You guys want to take that one, or shall I?
Does that make the brother Dark Angel count as a heretic for being in the warp? Well, I don't think you're a heretic just because you go through the warp. If so, every single soul that has ever done warp travel, which would be the vast majority of forces in the Imperium,
99.9999999
would all count. To be the part that I would say makes him heretical, like the argument you can make that argument, but it's unintentional, so I don't know. Usually that doesn't matter. So I'd say by the looks of it, whatever that bomb was looks like it's a bomb of the warp, just like eyeballing this shit, like with the teeth, the tentacles everywhere. It kind of looks like it just unleashed the warp in essence, whatever the fuck that bomb was.
So I got
and the line right there, the Dark Gods gorged themselves on 1,000,000 unworthy souls. That gives the impression that this bomb was essentially the warp being unleashed in a shockwave. So yeah, that in itself would be heretical. But you can make the argument he didn't know that would happen.
Just looking through these bits of art in this panel, the one with the Terminators, I find that pretty interesting. It's one of the even warp spawn things. There's a lot of jaws. That is very chaosy.
It has one underjaw and 3 upper jaws.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And
what page are you guys on? Did we skip? Am I behind again or something?
No, it's 21.
Okay.
It's in one of the side panels.
And this thing is somehow grabbing a power sword, a force sword, sorry, with his clawed hand and tongue, which is terrifying thought. Considering that power and force swords pretty much act to the equivalent of lightsabers, that's a bit unsettling. Well, when the field is active, that is. Which the field is clearly active here.
Death Bloom says, all the Dark Angels are dead. I see this as an absolute win.
That's hatred right there. I respect it. That's a secret, though. Everyone is a heretic. Inquisition are really good. Well, yeah, that's true. The Inquisition's, what's their motto? Innocence proves nothing. Isn't that their motto? So, yeah. So, to everybody, the Inquisition is, the Inquisition, for everybody, they believe everyone's a heretic. Or a possible one, at the very least. If you are inside a Geller field, you are not really in the warp. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Because if you're inside the Geller field, which is inside the warp, I'd still make the argument you're in the warp. And granted, you're protected, but it's kind of like the same argument. Are you not in space because you're in a spacesuit?
Yeah.
Are you not in the ocean because you're wearing scuba gear?
All right, so let's go ahead and go
Kind of-
to.
I actually kind of
James
like
Vance-
the shot.
I do like the shot. James Ryan says, probably a warp device. Remember what the Inquisition said in Space Marine? And yeah, the thing is, I don't know what the fuck that thing was, though. I can't think of anything in the lore that's just depicted as a glowing orb of energy off the top of my head. And there's a few things I can think of now that I said that out loud that do kind of fit that description, but not like this. Certainly nothing that I could think of that produces what we're seeing here. Seems off to me.
Yeah, but it's also not completely unfounded. I mean,
It's
there's
not.
still a
It's
lot
not that
of-
it's not unfounded. It's just strange. It's not like this is something I can
Yeah.
immediately call upon in my memory of the lore. For now, it's the glowy orb MacGuffin.
It's just a really rare. Flan
Maybe it's a
mini
relic?
Thanos snap. I mean, they did hint that it was from the Horus Heresy time, so relic, yeah.
I'd say relic. Well, anyway, next page.
Yep. All right.
Let's continue.
As those who would deny the gods forth their wrath.
Ooh, I like that.
I agree.
There's a very nice explosive shot.
Yeah, the thing is, what I like is it's not like a mushroom kind of thing. It's just a explosion of energy, but it's not like an actual explosion. It's more of an outcess of like a diameter of energy, and then it just ends. That's very warpy.
Whereas if this was Kelgar, that would just be a straight up mushroom cloud.
Correct.
And they'd still manage to screw up the proportions.
Indeed.
It's like that's the correct size. Yeah, totally. The head that's the size of my fingernail fits a body that is 10 times that size. Oh, what's the armor? Yeah, my ass.
Alright,
Alright,
well,
so-
next page.
And those who would adore them fall victim to their whims.
Is that Boltus?
Altus survived, yes. Of course, not completely unscathed. The
Yeah,
dude
the thing
is
is,
screwed up.
yeah, his hand is there. It comes to life. He turns it to a fist. Okay, so yeah, he's digging himself out. Okay, I was confused there for a second. I was like, wait, huh?
Ugh.
Jesus, this dude has been battered.
Yet there are revelations yet there are revelations still to be won, and covenants still to be made. Secrets still wait to be dragged into the light.
Who the fuck is that?
Dark Angel. A fallen. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a fallen.
Huh.
At least I think it is.
I think you're right.
Possibly. I'm getting that
Here's-
vibe, but
Heresy pattern armor. Heresy
vibe.
colors. This could be a fallen, or it could just be a really old non-changed Dark Angel. I don't know.
And the final page, it looks like, or maybe final page, and the closed eyes flutter in sleep, and then open.
To be continued.
Yep.
Damn, this shot with Boltus and his helmet and armor just being completely destroyed is just, that is beautiful destruction. Also,
Agreed.
props to this bastard for even surviving that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then again, in the lower panel, you can see that an Iron Warrior somehow survived that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
being
if you
dragged
were at,
away.
my guess is if you were at the epicenter, you had the likelihood of surviving. You
Maybe.
could reference it like the eye of the storm, perhaps.
So it does say
fair enough.
James Knighton says to Asmogan that a fallen dark angel. See the marking on his belt, that the old sign of dark angels at the time of the heresy.
That's what I was thinking, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure because their standard look is not fresh in my mind. But yeah, I suppose you're right.
All right, so now that the comic has ended, part 404, so that can't be the end of it. I think there's more to this. I'm pretty
I
sure there's
think
more.
maybe that was the end of the act.
There are a lot more issues left.
Yeah.
There are 12 in total. That was only number 4.
Maybe that was the end of a specific one. Specific act of this overall story.
Yep, maybe we'll go with that. So, what do you think so far of this one?
I like
Aside
it
from
significantly
some of
more
the-
than Marnus Calgar still. I like the artwork. It's very nice. Bar some inconsistencies here and there. I still don't like it more than Damnation Crusade, though.
Agreed.
It could be because I'm biased and I like Black Templars a lot. And I don't particularly care one way or another about Dark Angels. But yeah, I say I liked Damnation Crusade more. Even though so far, I'd say in terms of lore accuracy, Damnation Crusade had its issues, but I was able to overlook them because most of them are somewhat minor. This one, in terms of lore inconsistencies, there's plenty of visual issues, but in terms of behavior, I can't speak to whether or not the Dark Angels are being depicted correctly or not.
So I've got another super chat here. Nathan X 2000 says for another £2, it's Calgar who is alive all this time. Surprise.
He's still alive. He won't die, damn it.
Yeah. Aside from some of the art and visual inconsistencies and the seemingly popular usage of the word "few," I am enjoying this decent amount.
So far, I'm waiting for the ball to drop.
Yeah, I think that's either 5 or 6.
All right, so let's go into number 5 then, I guess.
Can we
James
perhaps do
Knighton says they did had a gunmetal gray do that time, so it is a bit different. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm not the most familiar with Dark Angels. I know the basics of their lore and the niche of their chapter.
So apparently this has turned into a new mini-series called Revelation. So it is looking like it's based on...
Okay, so it is separate. So yeah, it's apparently... So yeah, by the sound of it then, Revelations, I'm assuming, is like an Act 2 of maybe the same story?
Agreed. So you guys want to... Actually, we could call it now if you want in that case.
I just need to empty my bladder. Otherwise I'm still good to go.
I don't particularly care one way or another.
All right. Well,
and I do need to do some other stuff, but if we go for another 30 minutes, I think we'll be fine.
All right. So one more. So we are on issue number 5 then.
Okay.
All right. So we will skip all the various versions of this comics cover.
Just a quick. I need a toilet real quick.
Okay.
I suppose I'll run to the bathroom as well, just since we're taking a potty break. Everybody go to the potty. Go to the loo.
All right. So how is everyone doing in the chat? Hope everything is going all right. 1D4 Chan says it's fallen, says Ear Force 4. TAB says, my local hobby store tried to sell me the Calgar comic just the other day. I just screamed and ran. The best defense. Yep. James Knighton says, to me, I do remember this was the thing that this comic, when I worked for a comic book store, when I did work experience. So they are multiple acts. Okay. Anyways. Let's see. Is there any other comments here? Not quite right at the time. Okay. So, what have you guys in the chat been thinking with regards to this comic? How do you guys think it stands up? James Knighton says, yeah, I could have worded it better. Yeah, it's okay. I was still able to get the gist of it. Yeah, sounds like one of our...
I have returned.
Welcome back, Asmogan.
Thank you.
Earfar says, art's pretty good. Much better than Calgar. Yes, I agree.
I would agree entirely with that. Especially since it looks like they actually gave a damn. One thing I do want to do real quick, though.
Yeah.
I want to do like an actual side-by-side. I'll do it on my end. You guys don't have to do it. Because I just want to do an actual side-by-side. There it is. Okay. Actually, I want to do issue 3 specifically, because that's the one that had, for me, the most questionable artwork.
Alright, and we're back.
Yeah, I can definitively say that this is the worst of the two. Calgar, I mean. I say this because that's the one I just pulled up. But...
Okay, so Calgar is easily worse.
Yeah, it's... the first thing that shoots out to me is definitely, like, the line work. Like, the line work in Calgar is much like much more hard lines around all the details, and then everything's like color. The color that's filled in is rather bold and saturated, and doesn't work very well. Also, with the details they do every time they do a zoom out shot is pitiful.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this artwork, even in the lower quality of the zoom outs, they still have significantly more detail. The lighting is a lot better, and there's none in terms of oversaturated colors in any scene. Even the Dark Angel's green is not oversaturated like Calgar's blue armor.
James Knighton says, would be cool for a Trader comic series. Yes, so long as Marvel does not make it.
Yes.
As long as Marvel doesn't make it, I'll give it a shot.
As long as Marvel doesn't make any Warhammer comics ever again, yeah, I'll give any up-and-coming Warhammer comic a try.
You have to wonder what on earth Marvel is thinking to just constantly have clueless people constantly failing their way to the top like that, too.
It's because they're more reliant on their movies now. The comics are just a means to an end.
Yeah, but even still, aren't the movies still somewhat relying on the comics, though?
Not really.
Not entirely. Like, they haven't caught up with like their best comics yet. Once they do that, they will. But they haven't made movies of all their best comics or superheroes from back in the day, back when actual actual people gave a shit about making comics. But they're not. So they're kind of looking in the short term, technically speaking, right now.
Nathan
They're not
X,
realizing that allowing their comics right now to go to shit means that when they go to start making movies of their new stuff, as opposed to their old stuff, their old classics, they're gonna be fucked in the ass.
Ugh.
They're not
Nathan-
seeing that, so they're just letting pretty much anybody take the head reins of their fucking comic industry right now.
All right, Nathan X for $2 or £2, sorry, says qualification for Marvel, color between the lines.
I beg to differ. Did you see those preview shots of the new Warriors comic?
Oof.
They colored outside the lines all day fucking long in those preview shots. Especially, it was the most egregious one of that was like the Internet Gas Kid. If you looked at his artwork, the color goes right outside the lines of his character in several of the concept art pieces that they showed, which were supposed to be finished concept art. They were supposed to be like, this is what the character will look like on the page. Well, damn, the color of his skin is going over that black line that's supposed to define the edge of his skin. Bit okay.
Yeah, this is modern day Marvel, ladies and gentlemen.
They don't give a shit anymore.
Agreed. All right, so let's get on to the first page, which is actually page 6.
Yeah.
Tell me what you see, Inquisitor. Tell me what you see.
There's no way I'm gonna be able to do a shriek. Wow, that is some very disturbing imagery.
Aye!
Oh,
How's that?
damn.
How's that?
I didn't even hear half of that. So
How's what?
All right.
Just
so,
that start, or
let's just not do it.
Yeah, let's not. So who was doing the Inquisitor?
that would be Xerius.
Speak.
And I was doing the pilot girl there, right?
Yes.
The thing in the hold, it's calling your name.
Let it call. I shall attend to it presently.
Yep.
I'm starting to
assume
wonder if
that-
that is supposed to be makeup around her eyes because she was in bed and she still has it on.
She's a party
starting to
girl.
think
She
she
got
just-
drunk and just...
Just passed out. I'll leave my makeup on.
I mean, with the kind of dreams she's having, yeah, I'm starting to think she just doesn't get enough sleep.
Nathan X 2000 says for another £2, she got caught reading Warhammer Adventures.
That would leave you with nightmares.
Yes, it would.
And
should know.
they still keep making those goddamn things.
The only good thing I could say for them is maybe they'll get kids into the comic and reading the good books, but boy, are they going to be surprised.
Yeah, especially when you go from, I can't even think of a good example.
Kidified Warhammer.
It's especially it's going to be
Baby.
especially garish.
And as
when
I
you
said
go
in my
from-
review, like, I wouldn't even recommend these to kids though to get them interested, because the thing is, I think it's more apt to just read them the actual stories. And if you're getting a really young kid into it, just have them paint the minis and then start telling them the story behind them when they're old enough. Like, treat it like, you know, letting your kids play like the E for Everyone games, and then when they're old enough, allow them to play like older games like T for T, M for M. You know, do that.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't introduce them with Warhammer's Adventures, because at least again, I did a full review of Warhammer Adventures, the Necrons one, which is the first one, and I like I said in my review, the only positives I could really hit for the book was the vocabulary it chose to use. Like, it didn't hold back in the vocabulary. It definitely had good vocabulary, which it would encourage kids to like broaden theirs. I can say that that's like the only positive I'd give it. Everything else was just so bad. Like, it doesn't depict the universe accurately. It doesn't depict characters in how characters in this universe would act. The kids are pretty uncompelling. The story very uninteresting, and it's just not Warhammer. It's really not. It's a mockery of it, I'd say at best.
Is it more Warhammer than Marnius Calgar at this point?
I'd
No.
say no. I'd say Calgar is still has some dignity in terms of how it represents Warhammer. Warhammer Adventures has none. It has zero. It depicts a Jakaro as like the.
That is
It's
one
just,
big
again,
oof. Yeah.
To give you an idea, the end of throughout the book, there's one adult character that follows these kids around, and he's fucking
Don't even get me
useless.
started on him.
He is
Don't even
fucking
get me
useless
started on him.
as shit. And they depict him as a whiny little shit who's too afraid to do anything, even when they crash land on a planet in an escape pod. Like when he's just there, like clutching his satchel in fear, while the kids do everything, and the fucking Jakaro monkey, like he's relying 100% on them to protect his ass. And then at the end of the book, spoilers for those of you who care, he sacrifices himself to save them. And I don't feel like it was earned at all. Like, because the thing is, it was such a sudden thing. It wasn't like there was some kind of buildup of bravery. It was just sudden. It was like, oh, now he's useful. And he died in one of those ways that always happens in kids' books, where it wasn't definitive. He wasn't like incinerated or dematerialized with a deatomizer. He was he caused well, he didn't. I'm trying to remember if he caused the avalanche or not. There was an avalanche. He got caught in the avalanche, and in air quotes died. I'm half convinced he's coming back. I wasn't sold. He actually fucking died.
There's going to be a comment from Calkeel saying that Jakaro aren't monkeys. I can see it coming.
Yeah, the way they depicted him, the way he was drawn, might as well have been a monkey. Hell, even I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, one of the characters even called him that.
So, Brother Caciel did comment. He says, they're making more, by the way, just to remind you all.
Yeah, I mentioned that already.
Yeah. Like I said, the Warhammer's Adventure stuff was such garbage. And one thing that pissed me off, that should piss everybody off, and this is the part of the book that I don't think is... I can kind of see an argument in defense for some of the stuff that happens in the writing of that fucking book. The one thing that you can't defend is they throw out terminology of the universe like they're expecting the people who are reading the book to know it. Like Vox Communicator. Or a cogitate, or central cogitator. Terms like that are thrown around in the book and are not explained. Like, when I was reading, I was waiting for there to be a detailed explanation for a kid that might read this to know what the fuck it's talking about. And
yeah, and you would expect that for a quote-unquote introduction.
Yeah, but there's no explanation. It's just the character says, "Oh, the central cogitator," and I'm like, okay, I know what that is, but there's no explanation. Like, you could argue, oh, well, it kind of tells the reader what it is by implying, like, what it does. Okay, well, it doesn't give an explanation, though. Like, it doesn't actually lay it out in any way, and I think that's a disservice to any kid who might read it, because they're going to be confused what's what. So...
I think Vox would be the only thing that you could quickly pick up on what it is. That's about it, really.
Yeah. Also, the way it depicts servitors, and reading it doesn't even call them servitors. Granted, yeah. I'm still not sure if what it was talking about in the early chapters of the book was servitors. Like it depicts them as little robots that the character Meki made.
Don't get me started on Meki.
Meki is a terrible character. Name and all. Not, in my opinion, the worst character was fucking Valen, whatever his fucking name is. That kid, worst character in the whole book. I hate his ass so much.
Wasn't
Such a
he
dumbass.
the one that actually spouted heresy and got away with it?
He spouted heresy on a ship, surrounded by Imperial citizens. surrounded by them, and he's like, "Oh, the emperor, huh? Screw him." Essentially, is what he said. It's like, yeah, a normal citizen would choke this kid out and kill him for that. So, and the thing is, someone in the comment section of my review was like, if you experience what this kid went through, you'd say the same thing, and like, you wouldn't believe in a god. It's like, okay, well, that's not. Are you a fucking moron? This is 40K. This is a universe where humanity survives because of a level of religious zealotry amongst its citizenry. It's how loyalty is even maintained. The levels of religious. The thing is, the guy who commented that was like, I was like, you don't know anything about 40K if you honestly commented that.
Wait,
like you don't know jack shit about this.
Do you know who it was that commented by chance?
No, I don't care to remember his username.
Well, I had one commenter. Now that you bring this up, it reminded me on the Marnius Calgar comic. And now this dude, by the way, has been talking smack about anyone and everyone that's been covering the Marnius Calgar stuff for at least a month. I've kind of been doing it, huh?
Simp.
Yeah, pretty much. So he actually went on there.
Stuck in that GW cock.
Yep. He actually went on there to try to talk smack at this time about the bit where we were suggesting, why don't they just destroy the agricultural machine?
Tractor.
Yeah, the tractor. Especially given that they destroyed it later on anyways. And he goes,
Yep.
Oh, you guys say you know anything about Warhammer 40K, but you suggested they should destroy this thing. That after the Adeptus Mechanicus says you should respect the machine spirit. Dude, the thing's been tainted with heresy.
What? This guy's a fucking moron.
It's been tainted
If
with
it's
heresy.
tainted, if it's been tainted, it doesn't matter if it was sacred at one time. If something's been tainted, very clearly by chaos, it's to be eradicated.
They boom.
No exceptions.
And they destroy the thing anyways, which completely destroys his own argument.
The guys doesn't know jack shit. Just I would leave it at that. You know, I wouldn't even reply to his comments. I wouldn't even notice them. Like,
but well, in this
the guy's
case,
an attention whore. The guy's an attention whore and a shill who's sucking that GW cock, and he doesn't even know anything about the universe. So
in that case, it was so hilarious. I actually pinned the comment, screen capped it, and then then put even a community post so he could get all the attention he wants of him making.
Didn't he delete that? If that's what I'm thinking of.
He deleted the comment, but I screen capped it and saved the screen cap. So I'm not gonna let that little.
So confident in his argument, he deleted the comment.
Exactly.
Almost
What an idiot.
sounds like the common theme this year.
Tab says, "Don't be too harsh. The person is probably an intern just trying to make the boss happy. They need to get promoted to get $7.25 an hour." Well,
that's not it. Definitely not.
I mean, if he's doing it just to be promoted, then he wouldn't. Then it shouldn't really matter to him too much if he gets called out, right?
Probably not. I'd say it's more important he gets called out.
But anyways, all right. So let's actually go on to the next page because we've been here for a little while again.
Yeah, we've been on this tangent a little too long.
Agreed.
About as long as we were on the tangent about the Imperial Knights, so.
Which one? We've had multiple tangents on that.
My criticism was valid.
It is. It is. Xerius, you're up.
Yeah, boy. You have the temerity,
Yep.
to call my name.
And you ignore me at your peril. It is a dangerous game you have embarked upon, Inquisitor.
These visions are your doing.
The third eye sees what the others may not. I merely seek to open it.
This is Space Marines. The chaplain survived. Okay.
So yeah, more people keep surviving. I believe that means that you're up, Asmogan.
The blood of my enemy has always seemed thin, simple to cleanse. It washes away without a trace and all is forgotten. But the blood of my kin is far more indelible and leaves stains no amount of scrubbing may remove. Leave. Yet steep my hands in it, I must, for there lies honor and redemption. There lies truth.
What's up with his face?
I was about to say, what's up with his eyes?
Yeah, his eyes just look empty.
Gone.
Are
James
no
Knight-
eyes.
James Knighton says, to me, I think she's an Ordo Malice Inquisition.
If she's after potential traitor,
Okay,
she seems to be after the Dark Angels. Like she's trying to prove their guilt.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that is starting to annoy me slightly. Why do people keep pronouncing Malleus as malice?
I haven't.
Well,
Arch does it. Ace does it occasionally. It's starting
Well,
to
the two words are
European side of
interconnected,
library.
but it is Malleus, not malice. But
Mal-
it is a slip of the tongue type of thing.
yeah, Ordo Malleus, right?
Yeah, Order Malleus.
Alright.
It's essentially derivative of the word malice. So
But it is, of course, Malleus. Arch does it all the time, which
just
is a bit-
like Ordo Hereticus is derivative of heretic. So
Mhm.
Ordo Hereticus.
Trooper Geo
Or the
says,
Ordo Xenos.
Trooper Geo
Same
sa-
thing.
Oh, sorry. Trooper Geo says, why is he putting the helmet on without the rest of his armor? That just
Good
looks off to
question.
me. If she's trying to prove the Dark Angels are traitors, then I'm all for her investigation. Tab says Ace is fired.
Shit.
You're fired!
Then I gotta check out. I can actually look at the live chat on the laptop.
Yep, that's pretty much how I'm doing it. Alright, so let's go ahead and see the next page here.
Right. So the first person speaking is not me.
Xerion cost us gravely. I fear the gene seed of our dead might never be recovered.
Aye, it was a hard-won victory. Yet it cost our enemy also. The Iron Warriors were all but obliterated. Even now their warships flee in the face of our continued onslaught.
What of our true enemy? What word is there of the lost?
The prisoner reveals little of use. His time will come. Meanwhile, we have only vague reports from Tintaroth of an impersonator claiming to be our brethren. Although you have read the reports from the surface, the aftermath of the detonation,
Indeed, I am familiar with the accounts of Baltus.
I wish to
Trying to
know how he
tell-
fares.
Trying to figure out if this chaplain is an interrogator chaplain.
Yeah, he is.
Like-
Well, he's
like-
supposed to be. He was called that in the previous issue.
Ah,
So he is
Okay,
supposed to
'cause
be an
I'm not-
interrogator chapter. A chaplain, yeah.
not seeing much evidence of the interrogatory bit. I'm trying to find. Here's a decent image. I'm gonna have to find an image of his Xerius for me to get a proper look and see if he is actually interrogator chaplain. But
Well, he is
that's
supposed to
minor.
be. Whether he's depicted properly or not is an argument we could have all day.
true enough.
I
And
wish to
here
know
we
how
can
he
see-
fares.
Here we can see a space marine taking care of his battle plate
Mm-hmm.
and weapons. Also, holy crap, that bolter is freaking massive.
Holy
Yes,
crap,
it
this
is.
guy looks young.
Just look at the bolter compared to the space marine. Looks like
Mhm.
he's just a normal
Massive.
human. Looks like he's a human compared to the size of that bolter.
They do realize the armor isn't all their size, right? And it adds to it, but it's not their whole thing.
I mean, considering they gave an Inquisitor Terminator armor later in this specific issue, I don't think they really care.
All right, so
And yes, the Terminator armor is coming up in this issue pretty soon. So be prepared for that.
okay. He has fallen back on his training. He seeks solace in ritual. He does not question. 9 rounds in.
Okay, there you go. The bolter is a bit better sized now. And the rounds
Look
are
off to
properly
me.
sized.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the bolt rounds supposed to have like a divot out around the tip of the bullet? They look like normal bullets here.
Yeah, there is supposed to be a bit of a tip.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
But
Hold
I
on.
mean that's a minor detail.
This
just a
coming from
minor-
you. I mean, come on. That's a minor detail. Oh, the knee armor on this Imperial Knight. Let's talk about it for 30 minutes.
Okay, well if we're gonna go properly into minor detail, why do none of these shells have Aquilas on them?
Good point.
Ah,
Very good point.
there you go.
Alright, so I pulled up. Yeah, so okay, so I'm right. So yeah, the bolter rounds are off. I'll send an image over to Discord. Hold on.
I can check it online myself. I think.
Well, I'll just send it over to Discord. I found the right image.
I mean, if we look at something like the
There we go.
Space Marine game,
There,
bolter
send it.
rounds are very detailed. Yeah, there you go. Did you see they're
So
supposed
there's
to have
actually a type of bolter ammunition, but even then it would have a fuse at the end of it, or the tip of it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right.
Okay, I'm just looking at these sizes. Is that right? Are bolt pistol rounds really bigger than? I actually don't. I don't know if the 75 is even supposed to be regular bolter rounds or not, because it doesn't say. It just says mortal.
Okay, I've sent a
What's
link.
that supposed to mean?
I've sent a link in the live stream, and it will show you some specialty ammunition. And one of them, yeah, they still look off too, even those. So I think you're right.
Yeah, it's just that caught my eye that they're depicted as like a normal, regular, everyday bullet.
Which is not the
Actually,
case.
Yeah,
Yep.
looking at these bolter shells, these shells shown here are very, very different.
Yeah. Oh well. Nitpick aside.
All right, so let's go to the next page.
For a second, I thought they were the same page. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I know.
He shows strength of character and a hunger for order.
Indeed, he might yet prove a great asset to our cause. 9 rounds out.
Click, clickety click. Wait a minute, 9 rounds?
I don't think it's the whole number. I think he's just in the middle of unloading it.
He said 9 rounds in, 9 rounds out.
I think if I'm not incorrect, he's in the middle of loading it in the first page of that, and the second, he's in the middle of unloading it. I don't think he's done in either one. He's still loading it in the previous round, and he's still unloading it in the second. I think they're just trying to catch it at the same number to make it rhyme.
All right.
Or, like, I guess you could say reflect.
All right, so next page.
Suppose.
All right.
More riddles. I demand answers.
You know of what I speak. I would merely encourage you to open your mind. Only in doing so might you find what you seek.
I will not open my mind to your filth.
And yet, in your dreams, your mind cries out for enlightenment. You seek knowledge of the fallen angels.
Show me.
Tell me what you see, Inquisitor. Tell me what you see.
I find it very freaky that this dude is talking from his voice, his throat. His throat is a mouth.
It's clearly corrupted by chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm trying to. My guess is Slaaneshi, but
Nah.
that's because of the purple hues. But Tzeentch comes to
Even-
mind for the eyeball in the center of his chest.
Well, even Tzeentch and sometimes Nurgle have slightly purpley pink things here
Well,
and there.
yeah, but no, not really. Not really Nurgle. Like Tzeentch, yes, there's some purplish in there, but not Nurgle. Nurgle's more greens, blues, like a lighter blue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I refer to Nurgle. It's more some of the Nurglings are sometimes fleshy, pinky colored. That's sometimes. So is it just me, or is this panel where she says, "Show me"? She almost looks like she's gonna tear up. Like it looks like there's tears building up in her eyes.
In one
I
of
mean,
them,
it
yes,
looked
a
like
little
that.
bit because of the white line, but I think that's just a drawing error.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Trooper
it's
Geo
kind of disturbing to me.
Trooper Geo says he could also be using a Stalker Bolter magazine which holds around 10 rounds. More importantly, how do either of them know of the Fallen's existence? He's talking about
Okay, the Inquisitor. Good question.
Yeah, that is something now that I think about it.
The demon? I mean,
Maybe?
the demon can know about pretty much anything.
I mean, if it's a
I mean,
Tzeentch,
it's warp spawn.
Well, the thing is,
One,
if
it's warp
the
spawn.
well, the big thing is I can't imagine Inquisitor would trust the word of a demon, even if you
neither.
capture it. Like, first of all,
Or-
especially if it's a Tzeentch demon, that thing will enjoy fucking with you all day. Like,
Yep.
it would tell you things you want to hear to lead you down a path that would cause a changing of the events that were predestined. Tzeentch is all about lack of certainty and fucking with shit. So
Yeah, and you can
if I
see-
captured
you
a
can see-
demon that was clearly Tzeentch influenced, I wouldn't trust the damn thing it says.
And you can clearly see that this thing has a soft, light smile on its face.
It is
is
clearly
enjoying
fucking with her, to a degree.
yeah. So next,
And that burning of the inquisitorial eye into its chest did absolutely nothing. It wasn't phased by that at all. So
It was smiling,
I
actually.
question. Yeah, I question the purpose of doing that.
The intelligence of this Inquisitor seems kind of low to me.
all right. So next page.
This is a very nice shot.
Agreed.
In the emerald forests of Quintus, they make their lair. Here, their power swells pure and unimpeded. Soon they shall rise up, and all shall fear their tread. You know what must be done.
Okay, yeah, that is definitely fallen.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna be frank here. This Inquisitor is very dumb.
Agreed.
Like, this thing is showing you images, and you're like, yeah, this is totally trustworthy. It's not like this thing has Photoshop.
The 41st millennium. There is only Photoshop.
This Inquisitor's so dumb. Let me trust the word of this demon. That's totally reliable.
Agreed.
No need to question that.
All right. So next page.
I do love the attention to detail on this whole page. It is actually very nice.
That is true.
It's like these artists. Well, this artist, maybe artists, actually gave a crap about this comic. Or actually had talent anyway.
Well, could be
TAB
both.
says they would all lie or mislead. No Inquisitor would ever be so naive. Adobe suit is
well,
demon
apparently this
spawn.
one
Makes
is.
sense.
And if the Inquisitor would be so naive, they wouldn't be an Inquisitor very long.
Agreed.
Especially Order Malleus.
Oh, hell no. That would not go down well.
Are you a heretic? No.
Yeah.
Okay, good day then.
Are you lying to me?
No.
Okay, then. This is reliable. Well, the thing is, the dumbest part, though, is she's basically taking the word of this demon as her proof that the Dark Angels have fallen.
Yep.
Or that they are fallen. Like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, if there's one thing an Inquisitor... Like, first of all, she can't present that proof to the rest of the Inquisition. That would not go over well.
Why did you
other
bring
members
this?
of the Order Malleus, maybe, but everyone else,
Well, even
no.
then, only the ones that particularly have a hate boner for the Dark Angels.
Yeah, which seems to be a few of them.
Yeah, the Order of
Last I
Malleus, to be
remember.
fair, if I recall correctly from what I know of the lore, the Order of Malleus has had it out for specific chapters for a while.
Multifactors, cough.
Yeah, they've had it out for particular chapters, and amongst them, I would say, is probably the Dark Angels.
Yeah.
So I could see a lot more of the Order of Malleus taking her demon as proof and using it, but you can't present it to the rest of the rest of the Inquisition with any kind of certainty.
Tab says, I like the cut of that demon's jib.
Or the cut of his jib. Actually, the funniest thing was if she tried to use the demon as evidence, and then the demon, again, assuming it's a Tzeentch influence, would be like, nah, she's lying. I never said that. I said the opposite. They're totally trustworthy. Just make her look bad.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, her bringing a demon to the rest of the Inquisition would have already accomplished that, I think, but...
Again, the only possible way she could get away with it is if it was, again, with specific members of the Order of Malleus who have a particular hate boner for the Dark Angels. They would be the only ones to do the same thing as her, and even then, they would I highly doubt they would solely go off the word of a captured demon.
Oh yeah.
That would be incredibly foolish. And as much as it's fun to meme on how ridiculous the Inquisition can be, they still have quite the bit of bureaucracy with how they handle things.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, this wouldn't go over that simply.
James Knighton says, yeah, some do remember the
Right,
Inquisition from the first Dawn of War game.
Some.
Yeah. Anyway, so, next page.
Huh? Okay, well, yeah, next page. Master Seraphus.
What is it, Valiath?
Forgive my interruption. There is news of a disturbance on the planet Quintus.
Show us.
Unidentified Xenos vessels have been spotted breaking orbit. Appears to be a small expeditionary
Expeditionary.
force. Yeah. To what end, we are not clear.
I shall lead a small force to intercept them at once.
Holy crap, this dude has a lot of purity seals. He's got 6 of them on his chest alone.
No.
And
This is a very pure boy.
All right.
it's like, "Yeah, I'm pure. Pure steroids.
Yeah, I'm pure, that's right. Look at this. This is what purity looks like.
That being said, if they get knocked off, I can imagine he'd be really pissed. It's like, damn it, they got bolted off.
No, I shall lead the mission myself to No, I shall lead the mission to Quintus myself.
My shelf.
Shelf, yeah. No, I shall lead the mission to Quintus myself. Your skills are required elsewhere, Altheus. This
vessel. Oh wait, no, is that him or is that?
I think it's still me.
Okay.
This vessel
Maybe.
was seen escaping the devastation on Xerion. Our bearing for the Pandrosar ring. You shall assemble a team and pursue it.
And what next for Boltus?
It is time we put Boltus to the test.
Pandrosar. Okay, who's that talking?
Don't know. You want to take it?
It is chaplain.
I'll just take it. I'm assuming it's a chaplain. I could sense the darkness here, the hostility, the rage. And as we draw closer to this haven of our truest enemy, I know what it is not only Boltus who will be tested, but I too. Prepare yourselves for boarding.
That
You went-
is a lot of wrecked Dark Angels ships. Holy crap.
It's been one long crusade.
Mm-hmm.
True enough.
Alright, so... You anticipate battle.
Something akin to it. I like the artwork here in particular. The shadows really help everything pop a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they don't. To kind of stick a knife in the back of the Marnius Calgar comic again. Even it's probably like a pin cushion at this point.
It's a brutal.
Yep.
They didn't have to oversaturate the green to do it. It's
Ooh,
still
I noticed-
monotone and faded. Thank you.
I noticed that Boltus has a new little piece on his armor now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in recognition of his survival.
Indeed. If that even is Boltus.
I'm
That
pretty
is-
sure it is, yeah.
They've said so multiple times.
Alright.
Plus-
He's the only one they've consistently given a beaky helmet to.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so
Yeah,
next
it looks about right.
next page.
All right. Next we go.
That would be Xerius.
We make for Quintus, where the followers of our enemy take shelter amongst the forest glades. You should prepare yourselves for war.
Mean to take us into battle against the warriors of the Adeptus Astartes?
No. I mean to dismantle the foul cult that has formed in their wake, and in doing so finally uncover their secrets.
This is such a dumb Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
War.
even if you had proof outside of a fucking demon and his visions, this is such a dumb move. Such a dumb. Like, how many people in her unit here? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 total.
Mm-hmm.
How
If you include the
retarded are
monkey.
you? The Jacaro. Yeah, this is gonna end well. Jump right into battle with an Adeptus Astartes chapter. This won't backfire.
Well, Xerius, you up for some more words on the next page?
Yeah, let's experience some girl power, shall we?
Oh, they are doing it this way. Oh, yeah.
Yep. War is the very fabric of the universe. It underpins all that we know. The simple animals that tear one another apart, a desperate fight for survival. The legions of armored warriors who march across the stars in search of redemption. Both beautiful and simple, horrifying and complex. And it calls to me now, and I shall need it.
Heed.
Heed it. My true armor is my resolve, my weapon, my determination. I shall uncover the truth. And yet, as I ready myself for battle. Okay, I suppose that's just that.
Let's actually, if you want, do you guys want to go ahead and take this page or
The final page?
this page? Well, with her in the suit.
Oh. Well, I've already spoken my mind the first time we talked about this, but I guess now that we're doing it straight, should reiterate. Bullshit. Pure, unadulterated bullshit. The comic was good up to this point, too. I'll give the comic credit. The comic has been enjoyable.
I gotta stop you here for a moment. It isn't full bullshit. There have been some Inquisitors that have their own Terminator armor, but yes, this is bullshit because this is full on Astartes power armor.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was about to correct you because I don't think Inquisitors ever had an Astartes armor.
And even then,
yeah, but
They have their own human-sized variant of power armor.
Terminator armor.
Yeah, and even if this was
specifically,
even if this was just a human variant, she'd have needed to be filled with implants, right?
Yes,
very
much so.
Which we got a good look, and she doesn't seem to have.
No, in the previous page when we saw her naked, the page before that. Yeah, nothing. Like, her body's full of scars, but I don't see any implants. I don't see any studs. Nothing.
Yeah, all she needs apparently is a simple skin suit.
Because that's all it is. That's all it is, people. It's just armor. There's nothing complex about it. It's just a fancy suit. Anyone can put it on, right?
This isn't Warhammer. This is Evangelion. All you need is a skin suit. Voila.
Even Evangelion had more to it than this. Because Evangelion, you had to actually be compatible to the Avas in the first place, and that's part of the reason why they could only use 14-year-olds.
Wait, what?
We're talking about Neon Genesis Evangelion, right?
Okay,
I'm not too familiar with the show, so I will defer to the knowledge.
Disclaimer: I know nothing about the show. I just know about
get in the Ava suits. Well, okay, so the skin suits do help, but part of the lore is basically, if you really wanted to get into it, basically the Avas had to be partly produced out of the parents of the pilots, usually the mom. Something about they had to take them part of their personality or something like that, which drives the moms crazy, usually to the point they commit suicide or something. But that's the only way they can actually make the Avas compatible with anyone at all, period. So which is why it's only 14-year-olds that are piloting the things.
Uh-huh.
And also has to be after the second impact, which is why the oldest you can get is 14-year-olds as well. So anyways, that's the reason why. But point is...
And real quick, to the cheeky bastard who's no doubt going to be in the comment section of this stream later, before you say, well, it is human-sized power armor. No, it's not, because look at the humans next and behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's significantly massive compared to them. This is a Astartes level Terminator armor. So, suck my dick.
Yes.
And again, the comic has been mostly good up to this point.
Yeah.
Like, this is So I will say this. I am not gonna bring down the whole comic because of this. I do think it's bullshit. I think it's inconsistent. But comparatively, this ain't that bad.
This is one problem where
As much as I think it's bullshit.
This is one problem in a comic, whereas Marnius Calgar is a comic made of problems.
Exactly. That's how I would put it. This comic has been good up to this point, with some minor inconsistencies. This is the first major issue and inconsistency I've seen. And as long as it remains the only one, I think we'll be fine.
Well, in the next issue, there's gonna be a bit more of an.
I haven't read ahead. I'm reading all these raw on the stream.
Tripper Geo says...
Just saying, there's gonna be more issues about this armor in the next issue.
Okay.
As long as it's just about the armor, my point still stands.
James, okay, so some comments here. James Knighton says to me, granted, this makes more sense than female Space Marines at least. These guys did their homework for this Inquisitor. Trooper Geo says, may I ask why is that Inquisitor able to wear the armor if she doesn't have a black carapace implant? And also,
Thank you.
Yep. And also why she magically changes size when she's in the armor.
Convenience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
James Knighton says very true. All right, so now I think we can move on. And Xerius, I believe
The
you're
final
still.
page.
Yep, I believe you're still up for this.
Yeah, those are all her.
You know with certainty that I am not alone. Enemies of mankind gather in the shadows. Soon shall be a reckoning.
They're up against Harlequins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this Harlequins, okay? Keep that in mind for the next issue.
Oh yeah, they're nut jobs.
Yep.
These Harlequins are actually going to play an important role in proving of how much more bullshit the armor is in the next issue.
I will reserve my thoughts for then.
You get some alcohol. You're going to need a shot for what's coming.
Oh dear. All right, so I do think that this is a good stopping point. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Yeah, this is a good starting point.
All right, so
It is an hour until midnight for me, so yeah, I'm a bit tired.
understandable. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Aside from this Terminator armor, I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
The artwork's
And
good.
of course, aside from the female, the Inquisitor being half brain dead.
Yeah, aside from the Inquisitor's inconsistency with the lore, thing is, most of the issues for lore consistency have been with the Inquisitor so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's very dumb. She also has Terminator armor, but everything else is depicted pretty accurately. Again, I'm not super familiar with the Dark Angels, so as far as I know of them, everything's pretty straightforward. I'm enjoying it for the most part. Artwork's very good. I like the choice not to go with oversaturated green like we see in the Marnie's Calgar comic with the oversaturated blues.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it fits better. The story so far, I'm interested. I'm committed. The only issue that I would say that has actually fully brought me out of it for a few minutes was definitely her getting in Astartes sized Terminator armor.
Yep.
Pretty much everything else has been good, though. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that the worst is not. Well, I'm hoping that there's not any other major issues. If it's just the armor and her wearing it, and what she can do with it, I'm fully prepared for that to be coming up. But as long as it's just that, I don't think it'll bring the whole thing down. I don't think, anyway.
Actually, now that I remember, Boltus and the Chaplain survived that explosion. So now I'm just
I could see him. I could see
how many
how
other
the Chaplain
people survived.
Probably not too many, I wouldn't say.
I'm gonna make a prediction and not read ahead anymore. I'm going to make a prediction that the Chaos Lord also survived somehow. Somehow, maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
I mean, it'd be good to carry over the antagonist since we didn't get much of him.
Yep. So Tab says shot of Warhammer fun, and he also says Dark Angels more like Dork Angels. Am I right?
I swear to God, I will break your neck.
So Xerius doesn't agree with you, but me, I don't have feelings with Dark Angels one way or the other. The only chapter I hate, the only faction I hate in the entire lore is the Ultramarines. That is literally it.
Greatest of them all.
Pretty much everybody else I like, or at the very least am indifferent to. Even the Tau.
My favorite for me is definitely Blood Angels. Those Blood Angels are nice.
Favorite's Black Templars, baby.
Black Templars are nice.
They're awesome. Well, anyway, I'm all good to wrap up.
All right. Well, all right. So
boy.
This has been Ace.
Asmogan.
Xerius from the Texas Pod.
And we will all see you again next week. We are glad that you've stuck with us through the stream, and yeah, we hope to see you again then. Till then, have a good one.
Bye bye.
Enjoy the rest of your day, lads.